Well, hello again from the Grand Estate. My name is Gary, and this is the Restoring Main Street podcast. As always, thank you for joining me. I have a quick question for you today. What's the most important thing in your life? Depending on what stage of life that you're in, you might have a slightly different answer. But if you are a married couple or a couple living together, if you spent some time together, and honestly, even if you're a grandparent at this point, I think the answer to that question would probably be your kids. Once they're born, they become your whole world, and for obvious reasons. And I have to believe that you would do anything, absolutely anything, to protect them. So that leads me to the subject I wanted to discuss with you this morning. And as always, it is, as I would say, qualifies as a Restoring Main Street quick hit topic. Here you are with the webcam. Here we are again. When I talk about your kids and what's going on with your kids or the concerns that I have, it's on multiple fronts, but this morning I just look at or want to talk about the different aspects and assaults on as I see them, and I'm sure once I get further along in this, you'll see my point. The things that are happening around them that are looking to shape who they are. What was disturbing to me, what I saw this past week, and decided to bring up with a quick hit here on Restoring Main Street, was something that I think definitely translates into what I see as part of the mission here at Restoring Main Street. Like I said, my large vision has to do with remembering what my downtown was like growing up and the security that I felt there. And a lot of that comes from the freedom, the principles, and the things that I grew up and was taught. And I have to assume that your parents taught you the same things. So those things concern me. So when one of the largest teachers' unions in the country, the National Education Association, decides that they're going to mandate indoctrinating your kids K through 12 as part of their priority in their curriculum, I have an issue with that. And I would think that you would have an issue with that too. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about critical race theory. I am proud to say, being a Granite Stater, along with, I believe it's 8 other states, or maybe it's 8 states altogether, inconsequential at this point, but those states across this country have basically stood up and banned through legislation the teaching of critical race theory. And let's be clear, you can sugarcoat this any way you want to, and I've seen plenty of spin. This is an attempt to indoctrinate your kids that basically, depending on their skin color, depends on whether they're an oppressor or whether they're oppressed. And in this twisted theory, it basically assigns certain things to each of those groups and gives nothing to personal responsibility, personal actions. You're grouped together. If you're white, you're a racist, and there's nothing that you can do to change that. If you're black or Hispanic or any one of the minority communities, you are the ones being oppressed, and you need to take a look at the whiteness around you, and that affects your ability to move forward. that it's all working against you. And all of that is pretty much a lie. So what I wanted to share with you, and like I said, I'm a one-man gang, so please excuse the perhaps clunky transitions, and because I'm working the board as well as talking to you here, so let me share these things with you. What I want to share first is basically a screenshot of what the National Education Association has come right out and stated. And this screenshot was taken from a monologue from the Tucker Carlson program on Fox. And I want to share that with you now if I can. And there we go. As you can see here on Clear Politics, the post about the actual monologue from the Tucker Carlson show was, we need cameras in the classroom and a teacher's review board in every town. Now, you might ask yourself, is that something that I want? And the reason that Tucker was basically sharing that sentiment with you, or that thought, was even though those 8 states have banned critical race theory or the teaching of critical race theory in their schools, the National Education Association has stated that it's their mission to share critical race theory and those evil thoughts and suggestions in every school K through 12. So my question is, are teachers going to, that are part of this union or like-minded with this union, are they going to attempt to somehow repackage the ideas of critical race theory and share them anyway, working around whatever mandate might have happened legislatively in the 8 states across the country, or any other state that may choose to ban this evil thought process and in my opinion, brainwashing. Let me show you one more screenshot that I took from this article, or actually from the Tucker Carlson broadcast. And this shows you in their own words what the NEA has said and what their intent is. So as you can see here, anti-white teaching is now mandatory. Mandatory indoctrination in every classroom. And this is a quote from the NEA. They basically want to convince your kids that they're involved in white supremacy. They want to talk about anti-blackness, anti-indigeneity, and I know I'm going to fumble across a couple of these, so please excuse me. Racism, patriarchy, hetero-patriarchy, capitalism, ableism, and procentrism. And like I said, please excuse my inabilities to get through a couple of those words and just try and understand what it is I'm trying to share with you. So it sounds to me like they have an agenda, and they're going to continue to push that agenda. Now, my initial question was, what is most important to you in your life? And as a parent, and like I said, even a grandparent, I would think your kids and your grandkids are the most important things in your life. They are the future. They are the future society. Those are the individuals that you want to see grow and mature and develop and become wonderful, citizens of this country. And if they're being taught racism or how to segregate one group from another, instead of being taught that we're all one race, the human race, that's, to me, and I think you would agree, evil and detrimental to their growth and well-being and their mental well-being. So the spin that you're going to hear, the spin that they're going to try to bring to this, and I already hear it now, is that somehow this is surveillance. The thought of having cameras in every classroom. Is it surveillance if these people are your employees? And basically that's what teachers or any civil servant is your employee. So is it surveillance or is it just transparency? And as a parent, do you have the right to shape the morals and the physical and the mental growth of your kids, or is that somehow given to somebody else? Is that somebody else's responsibility? The answer to that is a resounding no. It is not somebody else's responsibility. These kids, these children, your offspring, the little ones that you love and care about, are your responsibility to mold as citizens, to give values, to give principles to. For them to understand that you treat everyone the same, regardless of their skin color, ethnicity, religious background, choice in how they want to live their life. And the only time that you think twice about that statement is if somebody is acting in a way that would cause you to pause and question if they are an honest person, a decent person. But none of that is related to skin color, and again, race, sexual orientation or choice. None of that matters. Everyone in this country is equal. It's God-given rights, endowed by our Creator. And the only thing government is supposed to do is to protect those rights. They don't hand them out. They're not given to you by government. Those are your rights, and these are your kids. So that's the spin. That's the question I have for you, and that's the very short video that I wanted to share with you, just asking that question. And I would love to hear some feedback from all of you. Are your kids the most important thing in your life? Do you see cameras in every classroom across this country as surveillance or transparency to make sure that your kids are not being indoctrinated? And another question comes to mind. Because they are public servants, because we have cameras in banks to secure that things are going well and there's no mischievous things going on or bad events. We've put cameras on our police officers because we want to get rid of any questionable acts that could be going on and create transparency. These are all civil places, public places, and what's more important to protect than your children? Never mind anything that's monetary. So the spin that you're going to hear is not valid. The argument that you're going to hear is not valid. Any teacher that gripes that they can't teach the way they want to because now there's a monitor in their classroom shouldn't have that fear. Because if they are teaching the truth, if they are teaching the things that promote the principles and morals that we all believe in, and you can teach about race, and you can teach about racism, but you're not allowed to teach my kid, my grandchild, that they are racist based on their skin color. And I have to believe that you would agree with me there. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share. I do want to take just a couple of seconds to do this, if you'll allow me. Is, again, produced a great book of poetry. I would really appreciate the support if you would go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com and consider purchasing a copy of the North Country Chronicles. Again, I have poetry in here that covers all kinds of areas. I have a great poem about the old man of the mountain here in the state of New Hampshire, if you're a Granite Stater, and I know you appreciate that. I have pieces in here talking about D-Day, our patriotism, our love of our civil servants, being our military men and women. And I also have a lot of poetry in here that question a lot of life's issues that you'll find extremely interesting. So I would appreciate any support that you would consider giving. Like I said, go online, purchase a copy of my new book. Once you've read it, I would love to see reviews at either Barnes & Noble or Amazon. That would help me greatly. And again, the proceeds that come from this book just inch me that much closer to doing what it is that you see here on a regular basis, and trying to be as informative for all of you that I possibly can. And I'd like to remind you of a couple of other things as well. Depending on the subject matter and the things that I record and you see here, there may come a point in time where the platforms that you're used to going to may or may not carry my content. And I feel that is a huge disservice. I feel that's a First Amendment violation. But for right now, those are things that are entirely possible. So my request for you, for you, or from you, is to go to Rumble, go to Gab, go to MeWe, go to BitChute. And if you set up accounts there and follow Restoring Main Street, as far as Gab and BitChute and Rumble, those are all places that you will find Restoring Main Street and these video offerings, along with YouTube. I leave YouTube out initially only because if there was ever a place that I was going to be censored or throttled, any of those things, YouTube would probably be the place. And so I share that with you. I ask you to please support the Restoring Main Street effort there. Again, restoringmainstreet.com is the place that you'll find our writings. I have a group of individuals, like I said, that work under pseudonyms, that produce pieces, commentary on many different things in this country. And you can find those literary pieces there. I also post them at MeWe, if you look for Restoring Main Street there, and at Gab. And so you can find all of that content, along with my Twitter feed, Restoring Main Street Podcast. I have a Twitter feed that, if you would follow that, Instagram accounts, Restoring Main Street Podcast. So all of that, any support that you could possibly provide, just helps all of this effort become more robust. And I love doing this, and I hope you appreciate the fact that a regular guy, somebody just like you that has a 9-to-5, wants to be a voice to try and share some of this stuff with you. So again, as I always do, I want to leave you with God, freedom, and family, because if we lose the first two, our families are definitely doomed. All right. Thank you once again on this Friday for taking a few minutes and listening to this podcast. Please share it with a friend. That's the way we grow. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on any of the platforms that you would find us on. Like I said, that just helps to promote the program, and well, more voices, not less. So thank you, and till next time, God bless.